Hi, my name is Alex Buriak. I'm the Senior Vice President over here at Jet Lending. And today we're going to go over some common where does the train run off the track topics for investors, where real estate investors can get hung up in trying to review and purchase more inventory, more properties for flip and rental. So we're going to go over some major concepts to try to see if we can help you guys prevent some of these things, maybe some of the things that you were quite aware of that kind of really gets investors. So let's go over some of the topics and see how we can help here. So, first thing, investors, what they may lack is a little bit of market research. What is that? Well, it's a little bit more than just value. Whether you are sticking with flipping or holding for rent, maybe you're changing cities or states, understanding the market and the market research of the property, which is your product, is really, really important. I mean, things as simple as what high school does the children go to, understanding job growth in the area, traffic conditions, um, anything that can help stabilize or destabilize a market and help you project days on market, future values, and things like that. So, understanding what's going on in the area, in the economy, in the demographics, all these types of things that are going on in the area is really, really important when you're buying these properties. Okay, so understanding when you guys are driving for dollars or buying properties, understanding what's going on in the area to see if it commands this type of investment. The next thing that really gets people, and this is the one that actually hurts you the most in the initial evaluation of things, is if you misjudge property values. So not only just the actual repaired value, but the current condition value. We've done a lot of videos on how to project an offer price, but one of the things that gets people the most is trying to come up with an after a repaired value. And they may not have access to MLS. They may not have access to an agent. Utilizing things like Richer Values and House Canary. I mean, you could even go to Zillow and then try to see, at least get an idea of what's going on out there to see what are the types of values, and more importantly, what finishes are commanding those types of values. Okay, so misjudging an after repair value is going to hurt you the most. Misjudging repairs and stuff like that, it stings, but it's recoverable. If you miss a after repaired value, you thought it was 500,000 and it's really 410,000, it's unrecoverable. Okay, so misjudging property values is one of those real big ones that you really, really have to watch out for and make sure you really set up a good team to help you manage and assess these assets to see if you're in line with your projections. Underestimating renovation costs. Again, this is not as big as misjudging the actual repair value, but what we're seeing out there as lenders is a lot of these investors are going out and bidding on properties. And what they'll do is they'll get a good stomach view of what the repairs are, but they don't get like a GC bid or hopefully 2 or 3 GC bids of what it's really going to cost them. So they may project a $40,000 or $50,000 repair, but it's really a $70,000 repair. Now that may be okay because it may swing your profit margins a bit, and you'd make a little less profit. What really, really hurts you is if you don't have the funds to continue the project. Then you start cutting corners, or you start having draw issues, or you start having other things that are really hindering your process to get your revenue in. Okay, because this is the point in the if you're a builder, the development stage, or if you're a flipper or a landlord, the renovation stage. This is your risk area. Where your money is out and it's not coming back in until your product is done, and you either put a tenant in there or you sell it. So underestimating renovations costs very big is a very simple fix. Yes, should you always consider contingencies on things that when you open the walls, you did not expect there to be that much termite damage or something like that? Sure. But it's a very easy fix if you get a good, well-known team out there, get you guys a good bid. And just remember, the most cheapest and the most expensive bid does not mean it's the worst or the best. So make sure you do your due diligence. You interview these people. You look at their portfolio, the last 3 properties completed, get them their references. Make sure you do your due diligence with your general contractors and your subs, okay? Mismanaging cash flow. So you gotta, like I said just now, if you're a developer or a rehabber, all your money's going out right now. Nothing's coming back in. Yeah, when you do if you're with a hard money lender, you can do your repairs and you get a draw reimbursement. But that's a stalemate. Money's not coming in again. Okay, you're paying your holding costs, you're paying the electric bill, you're paying, someone cutting the grass, your HOA fees, all these things, money's coming out. Okay. So when you're in these projects, it's really important that you manage your money out in cash flow, because you just added on this asset and you still got a mortgage and a car payment and you like to eat every day, right? So making sure that when you get into a project and you look at your cash flow and when money is supposed to be going out and you structure everything, you have to run this like a business. So you have to look at your expenses and your revenue, things coming in, so you can manage your budget, manage your balance sheet to make sure that you don't get into a cash crunch, because that's another thing that really gets investors is when they start getting low on cash, things start going south. And when that happens, just make sure you get your private lender involved, you get your hard money lender involved, and see if you can work something out, because everybody's here to make sure that you're successful. So make sure that you get all your property taxes, your maintenance, your insurance, your utilities, your payments, your rehab guys, all that stuff in line before you close, so you understand what's going out and when you can get your return back. Over leveraging debt. This really happens more so when you're an investor and you're going to be doing more than one deal at a time. Okay. And a lot of you guys right now are saying, oh, that's not me. That may not be you today, but very well may be you if you become very successful. You may be running 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 properties, flips and mix of rentals at a time. You own 7 rentals and you got to manage those. So over leveraging debt is when you're in the middle of a project. And if you're doing, most hard money lenders are at 70 to 75% ARV, you minus repairs, you hold it in escrow. You got to make sure you got some money for repair draws and paying your bills and stuff like that. But then all of a sudden, you start going to different lenders and you start leveraging different assets and no one's really covering you. When you go to Jet Lending, what we do is we look at your whole portfolio and say, hey, are you aware that, you have X amount of dollars in the bank? And if you do this, you're really going to be tight. Did you manage this? It's like our last one, our cash flow. Are you going to be able to make your payments and make your regular payments from your lifestyle and stuff like that too? Are you going to be okay? So make sure that you watch as you grow your inventory projects, that you are not over leveraging yourself and becoming cash poor, okay, and asset rich. Skipping the due diligence. This really comes with third-party connections. So when you're dealing with lenders, title companies, real estate agents, GCs and subs, any third party that you guys are going to be working with to get your investments done, to get your deal closed, get your analysis done, all these people should be interviewed like you're hiring for your business, because you are. Okay, you're really basically hiring almost like a 1099 employee, where do they fit your criteria of how you want to run your business? Do you guys jive in the same type of way you guys talk and handle your business and all that kind of stuff? Are you guys syncing up? If you're dealing with a GC, like we said before, can I see your last 3 completed projects? Where were they? What kind of finishes did you do? Let's say they've been doing $175,000 houses and you're a $900,000 finish. Do they even know what a grade 5 sheetrock is? Do they know the difference of the painting that needs to be done in a $900,000 house? It's different. Okay. So are you hiring people that are in compliance of your goals and your exit strategies? And do they have enough references that show that, everybody's okay when everything is fine? It's more important is tell me the next 3 people, or the last 3 people that you really made angry, and tell me how you solved the problem, because that's a true test of ethics, and that's a true test of integrity. Is not when everything is going well. When it doesn't go well, what did you do to solve it? What did you do to fix it? So make sure you do your due diligence and make sure that you are interviewing your people that you work with really, really well. Ignoring exit strategies. You'll get this with a lot of flippers, because landlords, that's basically their exit strategy, but you should consider this as well. You should probably have at least 3 exit strategies for every property that you purchase. Okay. So let's take a flipper. All right. So let's say I'm going to buy this property and I'm going to have this done in X amount of time. If I don't have it in X amount of time, I'm going to wholesale it. I'm going to, at this time, I'm going to refinance into a rental. If I can't sell it at this time, I'm going to try to owner finance it at this time, understanding that at certain periods of your stage of development and renovation and marketing, when are you going to change your exit strategy to minimize your losses, to minimize your cash going out? Okay. So always consider all exit strategies and when you would do them and who you would do them with. Like, let's say you go to a flip and you need to do a rental. Well, Jet Lending can do a 30-year, term. We do a lot of times where we just quote them anywhere before you close, just in case you need it, to make sure that you can see at this time you are qualified for a 30-year. But let's say you got a 520 credit score. Well, there's no 30-year paper out there. We have one person that could possibly do it. That's not us, but we'll introduce you to them. But if you have an idea of hey, I want to hold this property, let's make sure your exit strategies are in line. Make sure everything's in place, so there's no hiccups at the end. Poor property management. And this is not just for landlords and tenants. That's a course of very easy understanding. Okay, managing the property well. But this is also managing during the construction phase, whether it's a rental or a flip or whatever. Did you fence the property in if it's a rough area? Did you put a cage around the AC unit if a bunch of being stolen? Did you change the locks and the security systems? And did you put cameras in? Did you make sure that you set up things with the HOA? Did you look at the deed restrictions? Did you look all these things about managing this deal and managing the property? Understand what property you're getting into and how to manage them and to whom you are managing them with. Okay, so it usually really, really ties you up on holding costs and things like that, and sometimes it can tie you up on even rehabs if you have the wrong type of management in. If you are having the wrong type of management in, it's going to affect your cash flow. And what did we just say? If an investor is running low in cash, it's starting to look down. It's starting to look like you probably can't finish. Okay, so make sure you're managing your properties well. Emotional decision making. Okay, this usually happens within the newer investors. Like, you buy into this house and you're going to flip it, and everything you'd ever want in your house, you're going to put in this house. Not today. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to rely on logic. You're going to rely on market trends. You're going to rely on what's the best return on investment for what you put into the property. So you don't make any decisions emotionally. A lot of times in the very beginning, you haven't done your first deal yet, and I hear this a lot. Alex, I just want to do a deal. No, you don't. You want to make money. So you start getting really emotional about this investment, and you haven't done the due diligence on values or anything like that. I mean, you're projected to lose money, and you're like, well, I just want to do a deal. No, you don't. Calm down. You're letting your emotions get to you. Okay, this is math, and this is logic. So every time you start feeling anxious or emotional or something about the project, make sure to have somebody or something that helps you recenter, to put everything back in logic and order, so you can make good decisions that are going to make you good money. Okay. Relationships and networking. So whether you're new or seasoned, the people that you network with are going to be fantastic resources to get you out of trouble, to get you things that you need, to get you properties. When you're going to like these events and things like that, I mean, you should be leaving with a stack of business cards or a notebook full of names, emails, and phone numbers. Those people have properties you want to buy. They know painters that you want to use. They have a good property manager. They've got a credit line with a regional bank. A lot of times I see investors, they'll go to these events or they'll go on these podcasts or they'll watch these things, but they won't interact with anybody. So they're stagnant with the knowledge and the personnel and the people that are only directly around them, and it's going to limit your business. And that's why these networking events actually happen, so you can grow and find things that you normally don't have access to. So, and I'm a big proponent of just ask, be blunt, and be direct, and be bold. If I want to lend, $20 million out this month. I go out and tell people I got $20 million. I got to lend this month. What's your deal? I need your deal. If you're like, hey, listen, do you have a good painter? I need a new good painter. Like, oh, and you'll get this. I don't, but Jimmy knows somebody. Just get in with your network. Okay. I'm telling you, this is a thing that we see too often. Not staying educated. This usually gets with the seasoned people. You'll hear this, usually from like a real estate agent, but you'll hear this. I've been doing this for 20 years. Your time in does not dictate wisdom or knowledge. It dictates that you've been around, and that has some value. But you being around without improving your skill and your knowledge base is not any use. All right. So as you move through this game, you have to be able to continually educate yourself and to continually increase your knowledge base with new ideas and new concepts that you may agree or disagree with. Most of the things you'll hear, you could take a little piece of something that seems very, very accurate, maybe forgo the rest. But understanding, industry trends, laws, strategies that come out, all these things, it's very important that you keep up to date with things. This is not, and no, there's no industry that, okay, well, I'm done with school. Usually school starts when the business begins. Everything else has just been a prep. Okay. So make sure you stay educated. Make sure you don't turn into I've been doing this for 20 or 30 years person. That doesn't help you. Chasing trends. You saw this last time in its biggest pivot in the right at the tail end of COVID in about probably the spring, summerish of 22, where we were getting buyers that were buying things 10, 20, 30% over ask day one on days on market. And then all of a sudden it wasn't. So what was happening was investors were chasing that appreciation trend, and they were overbidding properties thinking that the market would cover them at the end, and it didn't. So always stick with tried and true numbers, accurate descriptions of what you need to do in case the market does change unfavorable condition for you. So your still profit margins are built in on how you bought it. Another like trends that can get people not really hard, but like if you guys remember, if we were in the business about 5 years ago, everything was gray in the house. Dark gray, light gray, subway tires were everywhere and stuff like that until they weren't. Okay. Keep classic, keep modern finishes with a classic overpeel where a buyer can come in and just do whatever they want to the house kind of thing. So watch chasing trends because when the trend ends and you still have your inventory, you're stuck with it. Okay. Or you got to put more money into it and make your changes. Underestimating these time commitments. Real estate investment is not a hobby. This basically what you're trying to do is create this to be your business. Yes, it would be great to have 20, 30 rentals and live off the cash flow and stuff, but you're still managing that stuff. This is a extremely high time commitment. When you have in the very beginning, you have two options. You can spend more time or you can spend more money, depending which one you have more of each. Okay. If you have more time, you're not going to spend as much money. If you have more money, you're probably not going to spend as much time because you can buy things and schedule employees and maybe skip tracers and all that kind of things like that. But you're going to pay a little bit of both. This is a very hefty time commitment, especially in the beginning when you still probably have your 9-to-5 job. Trying to get a lender your documents and doing your walkthroughs with your property that you're searching for and making sure you're showing up to closing and now it's closed and you have to go to the property every day to make sure your GC is doing the work, or at least every other day. There's a lot of time commitment. You have to be a good time management person, scheduling out your calendars when you're doing this. You're building a business in addition to what you were already doing. So understand that there's a lot of time commitment in this, and it's very worthwhile if you can do it, but you have to be very, very much into the know of that and to schedule appropriately and stick to your schedules. Okay. Ignoring contingencies. So you're going to have things that go wrong. This is distressed real estate. It's going to happen. Okay. So You have delays, hurricane coming in the Gulf, cost overruns, market shifts. Importance of having a financial operation contingencies are important. You should have a little account just stored away just in case. Let's say you're using Jet Lending and I got $73,000 that I'm supposed to give you in repairs. Okay. And then you guys open the wall and find out that termites ate half the house and you have to reframe everything. But we didn't have a framing budget. Well, sure, Jet's going to help you try to restructure things, but I still only have $73,000 to give you. All right. And let's say framing costs another 20. You got to come up with that 20. Okay. So understand when you're buying distressed assets, the review of the property is very, very important before you close, but you have to understand you're not going to find everything. Did you know that there's going to be a 6-month hold on permits? So now your holding costs increase 6 months. These things are going to happen. Okay. So always have some sort of contingency reserve for a rainy day. And it will really, really, you'll really thank me for that later when it happens. Not knowing the problem. That's a big one. You're going to run into problems and issues and things like that when you're doing any business. But a lot of times people try to solve the problem without understanding what the problem is. So they start wasting time trying to solve this issue where they never analyze what actually happened. You jump into the situation without, defining what am I solving. You have to kind of dig a deep dive on how you got into this predicament. All right. And really figure out, okay, it's not where you're at today that became the problem. It's what you got you there, or that would put you in the situation you're in. You got to fix this over here to get out of this. Okay. So, and then when you find out what the problem is and you find out a good solution to it, you put in sprinkler systems to put out the fires before they happen. Okay. So you keep a documentation and keep a mental log too of saying, hey, I got to do this next time because that really almost bit me. All right. So here are some of the basic summaries and takeaways of some of the big where the train runs off the track. It's not all encompassing, and we can talk probably 2-3 hours about all the case studies and horror stories that could possibly ever happen and have happened on the over 4,000 loans that I've done and Jet's done over here. So I hope this was informative. I hope this really helped to give you some insight and thought on how you can manage your business and some of the things that you can think of that maybe you haven't thought of on when you're buying properties. Because usually the first thing that everybody thinks of is I need to find the property. And you're right. Well, now you found it. Now what do you do? Now you closed on it. Now what do you do? Okay, so these are some ideas that you can really take home and figure out how to manage your time, how to manage your cash, and how to manage your exits so you can always stay profitable and try to manage any problem with good solutions at all times. I hope this helped, and we will talk to you later.